Gerard, thank
Hi.
you for having me.
No problem. Thanks for having me too.
You're welcome. Well, I wanted to talk about the new album,
Okay.
Danger Days.
Yeah.
Seems to be really in color.
Yes, it is. The color's there because I think it's something that we really wanted for a long time. I think that was what was missing out of our lives, and I never really thought of us ever as like a goth band or anything like that. But everything had just been really dark. You know, we were a reaction to 9/11, and so because of that, I think really gravitated towards dark imagery. We'd spent 8 or 9 years of the band's life like that, and I think we really needed a change. We really needed like for us to keep the band going. It's like, oh, we can't do this anymore. We can't be unhappy. We have to be very happy, or we have to feel like we deserve to be happy.
Yeah.
We deserve just like anybody else to be happy, and it's okay that we're happy, and we can still make great music. And for the kids, I just felt like we were heading towards a new decade,
Yeah.
which we were,
Yeah.
And this new decade felt like it was going to be psychedelic and colorful and full of experimentation musically and creatively.
Oh, okay. So, you said something very interesting, deserving to be happy.
Yeah.
Do you think people have a problem with that they sometimes think that they don't deserve to be happy?
Absolutely. I think it's a huge problem, actually. I think with a lot of people that are unhappy, you'll find that maybe is the root of it. Like, I know at least for me, I spent many years feeling like I didn't deserve it for some reason. I don't know why that is. I don't know what that stems from or what kind of punishment I was trying to put myself through. But meeting Lindsay really changed that because when I met her again after all those years, we met on Project Rev. I was in that just the right psychological headspace to meet her again, which was I felt, perfectly deserving of being happy, and I was okay with that. And before I'd even met her again, like the couple months before it, if I hadn't met her, I still would have felt okay. I would have felt like, well, I'll just find other ways to be happy. I'll be with my friends, or I'll work, I'll write comics, But I luckily met her, so.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you still would have become that. Like, why do you think that you got this? Because you have this confidence, you have this happiness.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any idea where it comes from? Did it just come there naturally, or did you have to work for it, or is it just a part of growing up?
I think it's a part of growing up. I think you do have to work at it. The confidence is an interesting thing too, because obviously it takes a lot of confidence to be able to get on stage and perform. But people probably think I'm rather confident, but I'm the most self-conscious, confident person ever. So but now it's different on stage. I don't feel self-conscious anymore. I feel extremely confident. I feel comfortable. I feel like now I don't question why people are there to see us anymore, which is really nice. I know why they're there. I know why they're there because they're coming to see, to them, one of the greatest bands in the world, and they're coming to see just an amazing show that's very genuine. And very spontaneous, and they know that they can only get that from us. They come to see art, they come to see how we've changed as people, they come to see how we've changed the songs. Like I'm very confident now in that, in a very non-arrogant way. I feel like we're worth it, and like I said, I feel that way about the band too, and myself. Like I'm worth it, the band's worth it.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about the process of the album, because you introduced some new elements in there.
Right, we did, yeah. The process was really interesting. Obviously, Danger Days is the true attempt at the record. I like to say true as opposed to second attempt, because the first one just felt like, the record we didn't put out just didn't feel right. Obviously, that's kind of common knowledge now. But when we made this true attempt at the record, this last-ditch effort where everything was riding on it, but in a really nice way, we just started to discover things that were hanging around Rob's studio, like he had this Phantom keyboard, he had a couple of Korgs, then we started discovering things like Chaos pedals, or Chaos pads rather, Tenoris, much different kinds of drums, like some kind of very you know, world music style drums or tribal drums or things like that. There's tons of percussion. And then, you know, we got this keyboard called a Virus, and that, but it was brand new at the time too. It's still really new, and all the sounds on it were so fresh and genuine and hard. And I think that helped, just being free, and then not being afraid of using a drum machine or using a piece of electronics to put into our music. I think it opened up a lot, but I think first it had to come creatively from within us. Like, we had to want to have fun, and we had to want to make kind of a party record or a fun record. And then once that was there, the tools were already kind of sitting around. We just had to figure out how to use them, you know?
Yeah.
We spent a lot of time doing that. You would go into the studio and you would see anybody in the band at any given moment with headphones on, playing with a chord or something.
Well, you said something really interesting, that you have to sometimes destroy something to make it beautiful. And like you did with your music, well, I mean, you know how much my Chem means to me, and like it does to so many other people. And that's, the reason is that there's such a link to growing up as a person,
right,
with what you guys are doing through your music.
Right.
And it all seems to flow into each other. And the fact that you say that you have to destroy something to make something beautiful, do you think that applies to yourself or your ego maybe also?
It could, you know, you know, to bring it, I guess, into a positive thing, because the whole statement obviously is supposed to be a very positive thing.
Yeah.
Maybe you're destroying everything that's become either ruined or corporate, or like all those bad parts of you, or the parts of you that have become safe and cleaned up. You're destroying that, you know, because it is, you know, the way even the band looked and the way the record was that we're about to put out, it was kind of perfect in that it was a perfectly safe album. Like, it was very kind of like, oh yeah, this is kind of a really solid rock album, and everybody's kind of like, you know, looking a certain way, very cleaned up. And so, yeah, I had to destroy that person. You know? I had to destroy. He was a product of years of self-torture to make art, and then on top of it, financial success. That's who that individual was that was making that record, and that's the guy I had to get rid of.
Yeah. Yeah, so becoming your true self again.
Yeah, that's what it is. I really had to become my true self again. I'd come full circle when I started making Danger Days with the guys. I went back to that kid that I was in art school, and I embraced art again. I realized I'm making art, you know, and that's one of the things that Lindsay had called to my attention, that you are an artist, you have been making art, you feel like you haven't all these years, but that's what you do. You're not a rock star or anything, you're an artist. And coming to that realization is what really gave me the juice to continue and keep going, you know, and finish that record.
Well, Danger Days is a very interesting name. So you're actually kind of, well, I don't want to say you're telling people, but I think the message that people get from the record will be to dare to be brave and dare to be themselves, right? Yeah.
Self-actualization is a really strong theme on the album, and you know, when you kind of self-actualize, you become this next individual, or what tomorrow needs, like it says in Sing. You know, you have to risk everything to do that, and it's great, especially if you've got a family or a wife or a husband or somebody around you that is also desires the same thing and wants to see you do that. You know, they don't want to keep you the same or heading down a bad path. They want to actually see you go and succeed and actualize. You know, and kind of it's almost like activate in a great way. I feel like this record is like feels like an activation.
Yeah.
You know?
It is. I think it's a key to get there. And I wanna do something.
Sure.
I'm not sure if we'll be able to air this.
Okay.
But we can see this afterwards. Okay. But it's very personal. A friend of mine who I love very much, he was on this path of becoming his true self. But then it seemed to become very hard again.
Right.
And in my eyes, he kind of gave up by looking for other means of kind of silencing his mind.
Right.
And first thing that I had to think of was you, because you're kind of out there telling people not to take the safe path.
Yeah.
And go for it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it took me a long time to do it, though. So I think that's the important thing to realize as well. Like, I think hopefully people, when they hear Danger Days, they get the benefit of that inspiration directly and immediately, which is the idea with music and a live show or anything.
Yeah.
It took a long time to realize that I was doing that. That I was heading. I could do something. There was moments of it when we were making the first attempt where it was like, oh, I'm so close. If I had made this turn here or this turn there, I would have been on that path. But I didn't. It was too hard, and so I chose not to do it in a weird way. Like maybe subconsciously or actively, but I chose not to do it, not to do the hard work, not to, have these danger days exist, and I think just like, having a moment where I was just like really able to be truly honest with Lindsay and tell her that, you know what, I don't think this record's right, and this is why, and this is what I think I'm supposed to be doing, and her being, giving me the courage to do that, and the band then immediately giving me the courage to do it, and we all wanted the same thing. It just took us a long time to get to that.
Yeah.
We all were on the same page every single day. It was so amazing. There wasn't a single moment where somebody was too afraid of something.
Yeah.
Everything, I mean, there's songs that we scrapped that are really crazy that we could, that we drew line at a certain point.
Yeah.
With certain songs. Yeah. Sometimes just to, if you felt like, well, that's not the band, in a bad way.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great stuff on this record that you could say, well, that's not the band, but in a good way, Sometimes, when you're experimenting so much, you end up with things that don't succeed,
Yeah. How do you feel being, excuse my choice of words, but being a role model?
I mean, I think because of the years that have gone by, I see myself as less of one. I think, in a good way, though, I think that the band exists to inspire people, and I think that the fact that it does, that's cool and that's awesome. But I do feel, I do at times, look, I feel a responsibility, if anything, to people that listen to music, to just be a good person and make the best art.
Yeah.
Because I feel that the responsibility ends right there.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, first and foremost, I owe to my friends, family, my wife, and child to be the best person I can. Secondly, be the best husband, the best dad, and the best friend, and best brother. But then secondly, I have to be the best artist that I can be. Yeah, I don't ever feel like a role model, and I think that's a good thing, actually. I think people, they drink the Kool-Aid when that happens. They get this empowerment from it, and, that kind of stuff can really corrupt you. And it can trap you. Because at the same time, I feel like if I write a song or make a piece of art that is very instigating to people, I don't owe them the responsibility of, a courtesy call, or, I don't see myself as a role model in that way.
Yeah, I guess you don't owe anyone anything by doing that.
Right.
But it's more like you're kind of a natural role model. By being yourself, you're giving the best message that can be out there. Because especially in an industry where there's a lot of fakeness, and people sometimes assume that the fakeness is real.
Right.
But it's not, right?
No, well, yeah. It depends. I seldom meet people in the industry, which is cool. I don't have any desire. We don't mix with a lot of musicians. Almost all of our friends are artists from various different spots. But I guess, by doing what I want and just kind of existing, the band even existing, we're role models in that way, just the fact that we exist. So, there's some of that we accept that, okay, well, it inspires people, we exist. I get it,
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess there is a lot of fakeness. Everybody's really scrambling. It's kind of interesting that everybody's really trying to sell records, and the pot seems to be getting smaller and smaller, and there's more people scrambling for it. And People are getting really desperate, it feels. Musicians are getting really desperate, doing whatever it takes to actually sell a lot of records. And, I think the quality... I think there's two things happening. The negative thing is the quality of a lot of pop, I guess, has gone down because of that. But the quality of other music, I feel, is raised because I think that if, let's say you're in an indie band, you really have to love it.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's such a small chance of success at this point. Selling a small amount of records or anything, it's really... You have to love it. So, I think you're seeing people out there that really love it.
Yeah.
And they're not in it to get rich, because you kind of can.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of nice.
Yeah, so it's opened the door for more genuine music again.
I think so. It feels a bit like the Wild West out there, Like, nobody knows what's going to happen tomorrow. Nobody knows if the industry's going to get better or collapse or anything. So that's why we made this record not thinking about that.
Yeah.
We pretended that financial stress wasn't happening.
Yeah.
Because obviously to make a record twice, you place yourself in a high amount of financial stress.
Yeah, I imagine. But you gotta be what tomorrow needs.
Yes, you got to, and you gotta do the good work. You gotta really work hard. You gotta make the best art you can, and no matter what it costs or how long it takes or anything.
Yeah, cool. Well, I'm just gonna double check how much time we still have.
Oh,
5
cool.
minutes. Yeah. Is there anything else? Because this doesn't have to be like a normal interview.
Yeah.
I just want to be
Sure.
like whatever you want to get out there.
Whatever
Has
I
to
want to
get
get out there.
Yeah.
I want to collaborate more. I guess it's not about collaborating with musicians or artists per se. I just want to make more art, I guess. I think that's what I'm really excited about this time. Obviously we've been doing a lot of press and we've had these long press days, but we've already done things that have been really exciting where, we get to go to the Mobius exhibit in Paris, and then we got to go to the Louvre, and then, so we're doing stuff for us, which is really kind of a first time thing, But I don't know how to do it yet. I don't know what the ideas are. I'd like to collaborate in some way with the fans and make this experiment keep going, I don't know quite what that is yet, but I see that this record it feels to me, maybe this is why the live shows have been so great, it feels about collaboration. Being on stage, regardless of pulling a kid up to help sing or not, the collaboration feels like a really great energy exchange between us and them, and it's all very positive. So I guess I want to see where that takes us off stage.
Yeah, I can see that.
It'd be fun.
And do you want to do more with those killjoys also? Because I think it's so fascinating to ask people to create their own characters.
Yeah, I've got some ideas, because I like them to be creative and come up with their own gangs, their own names, naming their own guns, and coming up with their own powers. I love that, it's really inspiring. So I've been trying to think of ways to kind of, document it or something. Because it feels like it's going to be this moment in time that's going to last maybe about 2.5 to 3 years, and then it'll have to be the next thing, for us.
What a creative virtual world.
I don't know. I'd like to create a real one. It'd be kind of fun. I don't know. Without getting hippie-ish or community-ish. I want to do something with all these kids, all these killjoys. I think it'd be fun. So I've got some ideas I've been just really slowly, quietly working out, how I could get everybody involved. I'm really excited about that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much.
Yeah,
for
thanks,
doing
Bridget.
this.
Thanks so much.
It's awesome.
It's always great doing this with you.
Oh, thank you. Same sentiment from me.
Good.